Now, Weakest Link.
Of the 9 people preparing for today's show, only one will take home the prize money of up to £10,000.
The 9 people in the studio here today could win up to £10,000. They don't know each other, however. If they want the prize money, they'll have to work as a team. But 8 of them will leave with nothing, as round by round we lose the player voted the weakest link. Let's meet the team.
I'm Sue, I'm 38 and I'm a midwife from Rochdale.
I'm Lionel, I'm 60, I live in Saffron Walden and I'm a retired teacher.
I'm Andrew, I'm 32, I work for a meter reading company from Luxelene in Cornwall.
I'm Charlotte, I'm a 48-year-old manager from Bedford.
My name's Keith and I'm a 24-year-old web designer from Derry.
I'm Larry, I'm 45 and I'm a DJ from Romford.
I'm Gail, I'm 20, I'm from Leeds and I'm a customer service representative.
I'm Glenys, I'm 60, a retired civil servant from Warrington.
I'm Roy, I'm 51, a warehouseman from Maidstone.
Now the rules. In each round, the aim is to answer enough questions correctly to reach your £1,000 target within the time limit. The fastest way is to create a chain of 9 correct answers. Get your question wrong and you break the chain and you lose all the money in that chain. But if you say bank before the question is asked, the money is safe. However, you start a new chain from scratch. Remember, at the end of the round, only money that has been banked can be taken forward. In round 1, there are 3 minutes on the clock. We'll start with the person whose name is first alphabetically. That's you, Andrew. Let's play the weakest link. The first question is for £20. Start the clock. Andrew, in which country does the Cannes Film Festival take place?
France.
Correct. Charlotte, in photography, what D is the name given to the dimly lit room used by photographers when developing and printing their film?
Darkroom.
Correct. Keith, which Swedish group had a UK hit in 1976 with Money, Money, Money?
ABBA.
Correct. Larry, in medicine, does anemia affect the blood or the way we breathe?
The blood.
Correct. Gail,
Bank.
which Q is the hunchback character that appears in the musical Notre Dame de Paris?
Quasimodo.
Correct. Glenys, in what military combat game do players fire capsules of paint instead of bullets?
Pass.
Paintball. Roy, in food, pilar is a browned and seasoned type of what?
Rice.
Correct. Sue, in economics, what M is a place where coins are made under government authority?
Mint.
Correct. Lionel, in chess, which piece stands between the king and the knight at the start of the game?
Bishop.
Correct.
Bank.
Andrew, in nature, is an aspidestra a type of plant or animal?
Plant.
Correct. Charlotte, name the puppet show created by Jim Henson which first appeared on British TV in 1976.
The Muppets.
Correct. Keith, what G native to Africa is the tallest of all mammals?
Giraffe.
Correct. Larry, crystallography is the study of what?
Rocks.
Crystals. Gail, bullfighting is the national sport of which European country?
Spain.
Correct. Glenys, in the animal kingdom, what M is the name given to the offspring of a male ass and a female horse?
Mule.
Correct. Roy, Canberra is the capital of which country?
Australia.
Correct. Sue, is mahogany a soft or hardwood?
It's a hardwood.
Correct. Lionel,
Bank.
in economics, what term is used to describe a rise in the general level of prices?
Inflation.
Correct. Andrew, which Baywatch star married Tommy Lee from the band Motley Crue in 1995?
Pamela Anderson.
Correct. Charlotte, which R is a dried pale purple grape?
Raisin.
Correct. Keith, in the animal kingdom, what is a boxer?
A dog.
Correct. Larry,
Bank.
in the Roald Dahl books about Charlie, what B is Charlie's surname?
Pass.
Bucket. Gail, is Baccarat a board game or a card game?
Card game.
Correct. Glenys, according to the proverb, the hand that rocks the cradle rules the what?
World.
Correct. Roy, botany is the scientific study of what?
Plants.
Correct. Sue, in the TV sitcom The Young Ones, what was the name of the hippie character played by Nigel Planer?
Neil.
Correct. Lionel,
Bank.
in musical theatre, which walk is a song and dance number from Me and My Girl?
Lambeth Walk.
Correct. Andrew, in human biology, what I is the condition that occurs when the normal process of digestion is disturbed?
Indigestion.
Correct. Charlotte,
Bank.
in which country did the game of bulls originate?
France.
Correct. Keith, what pea is a whitish carrot-shaped vegetable?
Parsnip.
Correct. Larry, in maths, how many sides does a trapezium have?
3.
4. Gail, in which board game do players race their pieces around a board of 4 sections, each divided up with 6 triangular points?
Backgammon.
Correct, Glenys.
Bank.
In nature, what M is a plant disease? Time is up. I cannot complete the question. And of the £1,000 available, you won 970. The question is, who is least likely to cope with the pressure of the rounds to come? Who is already looking hesitant and slow? One of you is about to leave with nothing. It's time to vote off the weakest link.
The statistics show that Gail is the strongest link in this first round. With 3 incorrect answers, Larry is the weakest link. But who will lose out in this first vote?
Voting over, it's time to reveal who you think is the weakest link. Larry.
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 Glenys.
Larry.
Gail.
Larry.
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 Gail. Why Larry?
I just thought he answered more questions wrong than everyone else.
Right. Glenys, what did Larry do to upset you?
I thought he got quite a few questions wrong.
Yes, he did. Roy, your hobby's home improvements.
Yes,
You think that'll be sufficient to get you through?
I hope so.
What did Larry do to upset you?
We could have had the 1,000, but he got the question wrong.
Right, okay. Larry, you're a DJ.
Apparently so.
That's for mature clubbers, is it? I haven't come across a 45-year-old DJ before. You didn't know many answers, did you?
No, afraid not.
Why was that, Larry?
I think my brain was not quite into proper mode.
Right, an unfortunate occurrence. When you're here with 7 votes, you are the weakest link.
Playing the game here as opposed to being at home is obviously a lot different because you're under lights, you're under cameras, and obviously there's a bit of tension and stress there as well, and you're not relaxing in your own front room. I'm disappointed about being voted off first, but I answered more questions wrong than anybody else, so they had no choice, so good luck to them.
Round 2, team. So far, you've won £970 out of a possible 1,000. 8 of you left. We are taking 10 seconds off the clock. We'll start with the strongest link from the last round. That's Gail. Let's play the weakest link. Start the clock. Gail, in which European country are The Hague, Rotterdam and Maastricht?
Pass.
Netherlands. Glenys, what is the official language of Cuba?
Spanish.
Correct. Roy, in nature, the Norway spruce is more commonly known by what other name?
Christmas tree.
Correct. Sue, in folklore, what have you to touch in order to avoid tempting fate?
Pass.
Wood. Lionel, in pop music, Chubby, who sang the US hit single The Twist?
Checker.
Correct. Andrew, what American city's name means of the Angels?
Los Angeles.
Correct. Charlotte, if a jogger runs at 4 miles per hour, how far will he jog in 3.5 hours?
14 miles.
Correct. Keith,
Bang.
what O is a branch of physics dealing with the study of light and vision?
Optics.
Correct. Gail, in what English city was the charity Oxfam founded in 1942?
Birmingham.
Oxford. Glenys, in a standard game of darts, what is the highest score attainable with 1 dart?
50.
60. Roy, Dutchman Jan de Groot lent his name to which most northernly inhabited village in Britain?
Pass.
John O'Groat. Sue, whose pioneering bagless vacuum cleaner had by the mid-90s become the best-selling model in Britain?
Dyson.
Correct. Lionel, in the 1970s pop band The Osmonds, what was the name of the only Osmond sister?
Marie.
Correct. Andrew, what H is stamped on British precious metals in order to prevent fraud?
Hallmark.
Correct. Charlotte,
Bank.
what are the yeoman's warders of the Tower of London more commonly known as?
Beefeaters.
Correct. Keith, in nature, does a coot have a red or white beak?
Red.
White. Gail, what is the name of the green duck puppet which was operated by ventriloquist Keith Harris?
Orville.
Correct. Glenys, in the UK, to what building do members of the House of Lords refer when they say another place or the other place?
The House of Commons.
Correct. Roy, in maths, what F is a term used to describe a number which represents a ratio or division of two whole numbers?
Fraction.
Correct. Sue, in music, which male voice is higher, tenor or countertenor?
Tenor.
Countertenor. Lionel, vehicles from which country display the letters TR to identify their nationality?
I don't know.
Turkey. Andrew, what A is the name given to the composition of two or more metals?
Alloys.
Correct. Charlotte, at which sporting event in 1928 were women first allowed to compete at athletics?
The Olympics.
Correct. Keith, what kind of animal is a chow chow?
Pass.
Dog. Gail, Moonlight Serenade was the signature tune of World War II American band leader Glenn who?
Miller.
Correct. Glenys, in
Bank.
sport, did sumo wrestling originate in Japan or China?
Japan.
Correct. Roy,
Bank.
name the 1990s TV police show which starred Jimmy Nail as an undercover detective in... The time is up. I cannot complete the question. And in that round, you won a disappointing £240 out of a possible 1,000. Who is now standing in your way? Who is slowing you down? Who should be stopped in their tracks? One of you is about to leave with nothing. It's time to vote off the weakest link.
With 3 correct answers and having banked £100 for the team, Charlotte is this round's strongest link. This round's weakest link is Sue. But will the other players have picked up on this?
Voting over, it's time to reveal who you think is the weakest link.
Gail.
Roy.
Sue.
Lionel.
Sue.
Sue.
Gail.
Keith.
Andrew, why Sue?
2 questions wrong, I think, more than anybody else.
Right.
Fortunate.
Had enough of Sue, have you, Keith?
No, I just think she had a difficult round, that's all.
Okay. Sue, how do you think you did?
Rubbish.
Rubbish. Good. Well, with 3 votes, you are the weakest link.
I'm very disappointed about being voted off so early on in the game because I know I could have done a lot better, but it was deserved. I was rubbish. I got a very, very easy question wrong and I could have guessed the other one right if I'd have really thought about it. I think Gail could possibly go next. She was as bad as me in the previous round, but then again she was the strongest thing in the first round. It's anybody's game.
Round 3, by now you could have won £2,000. In fact, you have in the bank just 1,210. 7 of you left. We are taking another 10 seconds off the clock. We'll start with the strongest link from the last round, that's Charlotte. Let's play the weakest link. Start the clock. Charlotte, name the theatre recently opened in London that is a replica of one used by Shakespeare in the 17th century.
The Globe.
Correct. Keith, in which US state would you find San Diego, San Francisco and San Jose?
California.
Correct. Gail, in nature, would you find a bract on a plant or an animal?
Plant.
Correct. Glenys, with which religion is Zionism usually associated?
Judaism.
Correct. Roy,
Bank.
in food labelling, for what does the abbreviation kcal stand?
Pass.
Kilocalorie. Lionel, in fashion, the former president of the Philippines' wife, Imelda Marcos, is best known for her collection of what?
Shoes.
Correct. Andrew, where would you find the Lunar Alps and the Sea of Tranquility?
On the moon.
Correct. Charlotte, which is the second largest city in UK? Birmingham or Edinburgh?
Birmingham.
Correct. Keith,
Bank.
in the TV sitcom Open All Hours, who played the shopkeeper's nephew, Granville?
Pass.
David Jason. Gail, in the human tongue, approximately how many taste buds are there? 1,000, 10,000 or 1 million?
10,000.
Correct. Glenys, in computing, what B is a glitch in a programme?
Bug.
Correct. Roy, in pop music, which of these Madonna albums came first, Like a Prayer or Like a Virgin?
Like a virgin.
Correct. Lionel, in food, what is the name of the seafood soup popular in the US of which the clam variety is the most well-known?
I don't know.
Chowder. Andrew, which comedy actors' wives included Britt Ekland and Lynn Frederick?
Pass.
Peter Sellers. Charlotte, how many islands make up the Scilly Isles? 25, 86 or 140?
25.
140. Keith, in the UK, which government minister presents the budget?
Gordon Brown.
The Chancellor of the Exchequer. Correct. Gail, what tea is the name given to a vast Arctic region with a marshy surface and underlying permafrost?
Pass.
Tundra. Glennis. In music, complete the title of the following single by the Kinks from 1966. Dedicated follower of what?
Fashion.
Correct. Roy, in the American TV sitcom Bewitched, what was the name of the witch played by Elizabeth Montgomery, Samantha or Fenella?
Samantha.
Correct. Lionel, with which type of fashion accessory are Tiffany's most associated?
I don't know.
Jewellery. Andrew, is the absent-minded professor in Hergé's Tintin stories called Professor Calculus or Professor Algebra?
Calculus.
Correct. Charlotte, in science, what D is the process of boiling a liquid and condensing and collecting the vapour?
Pass.
Distillation. Keith, which South American country was named in honour of Simon Bolivar, the liberation
Bolivia.
of Peru? Correct. Gail. Time is up, and in that round you did marginally better, but not much. You put into the kitty £300. Now let me tell you, he who is desperately clinging on should be put out of his misery. She who looks as if she may soon expire needs to be dispatched. It's time to vote on the weakest link.
The only player to answer all of her questions correctly was Glennis, so she is this round's strongest link. Having lost the team the most money, Lionel is this round's weakest link. But how will the voting go?
Voting over, it's time to reveal who you think is the weakest link.
Gail.
Lionel.
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 Charlotte.
Keith.
Lionel.
Charlotte,
Yes.
why Lionel?
I thought he should have known Turkey, being an educated man.
Right.
And he lost us money, which is important.
Andrew, didn't know who Peter Sellers was married to.
I'm afraid I don't know who he was before my time.
Oh, you only know questions about your time, do you? That's worrying for the rest. Why Lionel?
Banking money, really. Lost a lot of money.
Roy, happy with your weight?
No.
Never been on a diet?
Yes.
Don't know what a kcal is?
No.
Right, perhaps if you did, you'd be happier with your weight.
Probably, ain't you?
Why Lionel?
Because he voted for me last time.
That's a good enough reason. Lionel, are you an educated man?
Yes, I am.
A former teacher?
Yes.
Yes, but you didn't do classes in general knowledge, I hope?
I didn't.
No, just as well. With 4 votes, you are the weakest link.
I feel savage at being voted off. I came to win, and because I had 2 killer questions, which I couldn't answer, and it was reckoned that I'd lost the team money, which I think I'd put probably most money in the first round, I'm quite angry with myself. It's very difficult to say who will go out next, because there are lots of strong people there, and it's very difficult to say who will go through to the final.
Round 4. £1,510 banked so far out of potential prize money of £3,000. 6 of you left. We are taking another 10 seconds off the clock. You now have only 2.5 minutes. We'll start with the strongest link from the last round. That's Glennis. Let's play the weakest link. Start the clock. Glennis, in physics, what C is the attractive force which makes 2 surfaces of the same material cling together on contact?
Pass.
Cohesion. Roy, in which year during World War II did German forces invade France, 1940 or 1943?
40.
Correct. Andrew, in the English language, what is the plural of bacterium?
Bacteriae.
Bacteria. Incorrect. Charlotte, in the animal kingdom, what method of defence do armadillos use against attackers?
Their shell.
They curl up in a ball. Keith, what E is the name given to the hard covering on the bodies of creatures such as woodlice and crabs?
Exoskeleton.
Correct. Gail, which Hollywood star whose films include The African Queen and On Golden Pond holds the record for Best Actress Oscars with 8 nominations and 4 awards?
Pass.
Catherine Hepburn. Glenys, in science, what name is given to the substance dissolved in a solvent when forming a solution?
Solute.
Correct. Roy. Which Danish king of England was known as Harefoot, Canute or Harold I?
Harold I.
Correct. Andrew, in maths, what C is a fixed quantity or one that does not change its value?
Content.
Constant. Charlotte, in computing, what B is the process of starting up a computer?
Booting.
Correct. Keith, which English model and star of the Austin Powers films went to ballet boarding school at the age of 12?
Liz Hurley.
Correct.
Bank.
Gail, which motorway runs from Uxbridge outside London to Birmingham?
M1.
M40. Glenys, does the word natant mean connected with birth or afloat?
Afloat.
Correct. Roy, 13 colonies of which modern-day country began a war with Britain in 1775 on the grounds that taxation without representation is tyranny.
America.
Correct.
Bank.
Andrew, which of the following two rivers is longer, the Volga or the Euphrates?
The Volga.
Correct. Charlotte, in mythology, for what were Jason and the Argonauts searching?
The Golden Fleece.
Correct. Keith, which 1952 musical stars Gene Kelly as a silent film star making the transition to talkies?
Pass.
Singing in the Rain. Gail, in money, is the puller the unit of currency in Botswana or Brazil?
Botswana.
Correct. Glenys,
Bank.
in the Old Testament, what was Joseph's father called?
Isaac.
Jacob. Roy, in science, what does the B stand for in BSE?
Bachelor.
The correct answer is bovine. And after all that work, you banked a pathetic £120. Who now is several sandwiches short of a picnic? Forget charity, team. You need to be ruthless to be rich. It's time to vote off the weakest link.
Having answered all his questions correctly, Roy is the strongest player in this round. The weakest player is Andrew, although he did bank some money for the team. But can this save him when it comes to the vote?
Voting over, it's time to reveal who you think is the weakest link.
Gail.
Andrew.
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 Keith, why Andrew?
I think he was unfortunate in that round and he lost us a few bobs, so...
Glenys, had enough of Andrew?
I thought he'd got several wrong.
Gail, why Andrew?
I just felt he got more wrong than everybody else and lost quite a bit of money.
Andrew, you told me you had difficulty answering a question because it was before your time.
Oh, I did.
And perhaps this was an unsuitable show to come on when there are indeed questions about what you might call the olden days. With
Possibly.
5 dates, you are the weakest link, Brian.
I think I was voted off because I had a really bad round. Can't blame anybody for voting for me. Early on I was pretty good, I thought, and then suddenly lost it. There's a couple of questions I'm annoyed at. There's one on bacteria and I said bacteriae, and one at constant and I said context. I just couldn't get the words out. I know I'm going to get a bit of stick when I get home, but I'm glad I got a few right. I didn't totally embarrass myself.
Round 5. You started well and you've gone downhill ever since. Your total so far is £1,630. If you'd hit your target, it would be 4,000. 5 of you left, another 10 seconds coming off the time. We start with the strongest link from the last round. That's Roy. Let's play the weakest link. Start the clock. Roy, in the animal kingdom, what is a bandicoot, a marsupial or a bear?
A bear.
A marsupial. Charlotte, which internationally famous building is found in the Indian city of Agra?
The Taj Mahal.
Correct. Keith, the comedian Sacha Baron Cohen is better known as who?
Ali G.
Correct. Gail, in the children's TV cartoon series based on the Three Musketeers, what was the canine name of the character D'Artagnan?
D'Artagnan.
Correct. Glenys, in fashion, who is the patron saint of milliners, St Catherine or St Mary?
St Catherine.
Correct. Roy, for what career would you be training if you went to New Orleans?
Architect.
Nanny. Charlotte, who wrote the poetry collection entitled The Children's Garden of Verses in 1885?
Pass.
Robert Louis Stevenson. Keith, in Harper Lee's novel To Kill a Mockingbird, what is the name of Atticus Finch's son, Jem or Johnny?
Jem.
Correct, Gail. Jackson Who was an American abstract expressionist artist who painted Autumn Rhythm and Lavender Mist.
Phillips.
Pollock. Glennis. In pop music, Roger Waters left which British rock group in 1985?
Don't know.
Pink Floyd. Roy. Which Australian supermodel appeared in the films Sirens and Batman and Robin?
Elle Macpherson.
Correct. Charlotte. Olaf Palme was Prime Minister of which Scandinavian country when he was assassinated in 1986?
Sweden.
Correct. Keith. What sort of London king was Henry Croft I of in 1875?
The Plantagenets.
Pearly King. Gail. In geography, what is the capital of Iran?
Jordan.
Tehran. Glennis. In film, which actor played the candidate in the 1972 film with the same name?
Don't know.
Robert Redford. Roy. In the human body, the hormone thyroxine is essential for controlling the general rate of what M?
Pass.
Metabolism. Charlotte. In politics, which UK government department is responsible for justice, police, law and order and public safety?
I don't know.
Home Office. Keith. What nationality was the sculptor and painter Alexander Calder?
French.
American. Gail. In which city in Turkey? Time is up. You answered just 7 questions correctly. Perhaps you should all go home. You banked nothing. 0. Let me remind you, you need to dump the dunce, ditch the ditherer. It's time to vote off the weakest link.
For the second time in the game, Charlotte is the strongest link. Roy has gone from being the strongest link in the last round to this round's weakest link. But can his previous success save him from the vote?
Voting over, it's time to reveal who you think is the weakest link.
Roy.
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 Gail.
Charlotte.
Gail. Why Roy?
I'm really, really sorry to vote Roy off because he's a lovely fella, but he did get the most wrong in that round, I think, and he lost quite a lot of money as well.
Charlotte. Why Roy?
Well, we were all abysmal, but Roy lost the money, so he has to go.
Keith. Why Roy?
I think for the same reasons. Roy had a difficult round and he lost us a lot of money.
Roy. Your specialist subject is home improvements.
Yes, Anne.
I would have thought a Norland nanny was an enormous improvement to any home. Not good on girly questions, are you?
No, not at all, no.
No, with 3 votes you are the weakest link. Goodbye.
I expected to be voted off in that round because I was the worst player. I wasn't happy with my performance at all. I think we were all rubbish, but I was probably the worst of the bunch. I think I'd like to see Keith going next. No win at all, apart from the fact that he's the only man left. And why should he win?
Round 6. You've won so far £1,630. In the last round, you won exactly 0. If you'd been awake, you could have had £5,000 in the bank by now. 4 of you left. We are cutting another 10 seconds from your time. We start with the strongest link from the last round. That's Charlotte. Let's play the weakest link. Start the clock. Charlotte, in music, in which popular ballad opera by John Gay about London lowlife was highwayman Macheath the hero?
I don't know.
The Beggar's Opera. Keith, which V is the American state nicknamed the Green Mountain State?
Virginia.
Vermont. Gail, in the animal kingdom, which North American bear, noted for its ferocity, is also known as the silvertip?
Brown bear.
The grizzly bear. I'll accept brown bear. Glennis, which rugby union player was appointed England's youngest post-war captain in 1988?
Will Calling.
Correct, Charlotte. The novelist Muriel Spark and Sir Walter Scott were both born in which Scottish city?
Edinburgh.
Correct, Keith.
Bank.
In 1991, which band had the UK #1 hit Should I Stay or Should I Go?
The Clash.
Correct, Gail. How many milligrams does 1 diamond carat weigh, 50 or 200?
50.
200. Glennis, in genetics, for what does GMO stand?
I don't know.
Genetically modified organism. Charlotte, in geography, in which independent Caribbean state would you find the Great and Little Abaco Islands?
Jamaica.
The Bahamas. Keith, in maths, the Russian shoti is a sophisticated version of which counting frame?
Abacus.
Correct, Gail. In literature, Joseph Heller wrote Closing Time as a sequel to which book he penned 33 years before?
Don't know.
Catch 22, Glenys. In sport, on which Parisian boulevard does the Tour de France finish?
Don't know.
Champs-Élysées. Charlotte, in which year of the World War II did the D-Day landings take place?
44.
Correct, Keith. In the musical films of the 1930s and 40s, song and dance director William Enos was better known as Busby who?
Pass.
Berkeley. Gail, in the UK geography, in which Northern Irish county would you find Portadown?
Derry.
Amar. Glenys, hoplites were heavily armoured foot soldiers from which ancient civilization?
Greek.
Correct, Charlotte. In which year did the reign of Queen Victoria of England begin, 1837 or 1857?
57.
37. Keith, in which US state would you find the cities of Akron, Cincinnati and Dayton? Time is up. Correct answer was Ohio. And after all that work, you scrambled together just £100. The clock is ticking. I urge you, dismiss the worst player fast if you want to raise the bank balance. It's time to vote off the weakest link.
The only player to bank money for the team was Keith, so he is this round's strongest link. After being the strongest link in round 1, Gail has become this round's weakest link. But will the votes follow the facts?
Voting over, it's time to reveal who you think is the weakest link.
Gail.
Gail.
Glenys.
Charlotte.
Keith.
Yes, Anne.
Why Gail?
I think she had an unfortunate round there. She was strong earlier on and she has been a good team player, but we're getting down to the end now.
Charlotte, why Gail?
Sadly, I think she was just slightly worse than the rest of us.
Right. Gail, you know nothing about geography, not much about literature or art, and you can't spell either, can you? That's not how Glenys spells her name. Statistically, unsurprisingly, you're the worst player, and with 2 votes, you are the weakest link. Goodbye.
I think it was the right decision. I think I was extremely bad in the last round, and I think I do deserve to be voted off. I'm a bit gutted, obviously, but yeah, I do think it was my turn. I don't think there's really any tactical voting going on at all. I do think Keith and Charlotte might be ganging up a little bit on everybody, but apart from that, no.
Round 7, you have £1,730 out of a possible 6,000. 3 of you left, another 10 seconds off the clock. We start with the strongest link from the last round, that's Keith. Let's play the weakest link. Start the clock. Keith, which British law lord chaired the inquiry into the Brixton riots?
Savile.
Lord Scarman. Glenys, which A is a French city where you would find the Papal Palace?
Avignon.
Correct. Charlotte, Sir Matt Busby was manager of which English football team between 1945 and 1969?
Manchester United.
Correct. Keith, which tree gets its name because its spiny leaves, which are arranged on stiff branches, discourage monkeys from climbing it?
Fir.
The monkey puzzle tree. Glenys, what is the name given to the greenish-blue deposits containing copper carbonates left on copper, bronze and brass?
Verdigris.
Correct. Charlotte, in classical music, which E was the English composer who wrote the oratorios, the Apostles and the Kingdom?
Don't know.
Elgar. Keith, which news journalist book entitled A Mad World, My Masters was published in the autumn of 2000?
Pass.
John Simpson. Glenys, which Hollywood actor was voted the sexiest man alive for the 2nd time in November 2000 by US People magazine?
Sean Connery.
Brad Pitt. Charlotte, which explorer returned to England in 1580 after circumnavigating the globe and was knighted the following year?
Raleigh.
Francis Drake. Keith, which river in central England flows from Staffordshire through Nottingham and joins the River Ouse to form the Humber Estuary?
Trent.
Correct. Glenys, which member of the Monty Python team played King Arthur in The Holy Grail and Brian in The Life of Brian?
Eric Idle.
Graham Chapman. Charlotte, in politics, before David Mellor resigned from government in 1992, was he Secretary of State for Health, Heritage or Education?
Heritage.
Correct. Keith, in literature, which controversial novelist wrote The Moor's Last Sigh in 1995?
Salman Rushdie.
Correct. Glenys, which eastern state of America is home to Cape Cod?
Massachusetts.
Correct, Charlotte. Which further education examining body has its headquarters in Giltspur Street, London? The correct answer is City and Guilds. And in that round, you managed to bank an embarrassing £70. Now, in round 8, you get the chance to treble what you bank, if indeed, team, you bank anything. That means in the next round, there is £3,000 to be won. The question is, who are you going to dump before they do any more damage? It's time to vote off the weakest link.
With the most correct answers, Glenys is the strongest link in this round. In a reversal of fortune, Keith has become this round's weakest link. But what factors will the players take into account in this final vote?
Voting over, it's time to reveal who you think is the weakest link.
Glenys.
Glenys.
Keith.
Keith, are you a bit of a coward?
Why is that, Anne?
You're trying to get rid of the opposition, aren't you?
But isn't that the object of the game?
No, the object of the game is to raise the bank balance.
Well, that's what I was trying to do.
Right, so why did you vote for Glenys?
I think Glenys is a strong player, but her general knowledge, as in popular culture, things like that, is kind of weak.
Charlotte, getting rid of the opposition.
I have to say I am.
Right, that's a bit of a cowardly thing to do.
It is.
You thought Glenys was the best player?
She, as Keith said, she's lacking in some areas, but I think she's a little bit more opposition than Keith is.
Yes, certainly she is. More opposition than Keith. In that last round in particular, she was the only one who banked and didn't lose you money. She certainly wasn't statistically the worst player, was she, Keith?
Evidently not, Anne.
Who do you think was the worst player?
Well, judging by your subtle question, possibly me.
Not possibly, definitely you.
Well, there we go.
Glenys, statistically, Keith was far worse than you. But with 2 votes, you are the weakest link. Goodbye.
I didn't seriously expect to get this far, but I was really starting to feel I was in with a chance, and then it was all over. But it's been very interesting. I enjoyed it. I think, in the end, I hope Charlotte wins, because, in my opinion, she's been more straightforwardly competitive throughout.
Round 8, and you have in the bank £1,800 out of a possible £7,000. Charlotte and Keith, 2 of you left, and this time you have just 90 seconds. But whatever you win in this round will be trebled and added to your total to make up your final prize money. So £3,000 is at stake in this round. You voted off the strongest link, so we start with the second strongest link from the last round. That's Charlotte. Let's play the weakest link. Start the clock. Charlotte, which Russian composer's 6th symphony is known as the Pathétique?
I don't know.
Tchaikovsky. Keith, TV hypnotist Paul McKenna helped cure singer Ronan Keating's fear of what?
Heights.
Flying. Charlotte, which English art historian was revealed in 1979 as being a Soviet spy during World War II?
Blunt.
Correct, Anthony Blunt. Keith, which 1968 British film was directed by Lindsay Anderson was about schoolboy rebellion?
Pass.
If. Charlotte, The Foxes of Harrow, Flood Tide and Bride of Liberty are all novels by which American novelist?
Robert Ludlum.
Frank Yerby. Keith, what bee is a sport subjected to the Queensberry rules of 1867?
Boxing.
Correct. Charlotte.
Bank.
In which 1980s US TV drama did Michael Landon play an angel who came back to Earth to help troubled people?
Pass.
Highway to Heaven. Keith, the alpaca is an animal native to which continent?
South America.
Correct. Charlotte, the Golden Gate and the Jaffa Gate are in the walls of which Middle Eastern city?
Jericho.
Jerusalem. Keith, which Shakespeare comedy features the character Titania, Queen of the Fairies?
A Midsummer's Night Dream.
Correct. Charlotte, in sport, which of the home nations did England beat in the first ever international game of rugby at Twickenham in 1910?
Wales.
Correct. Keith,
Bank.
what tea is a Chinese religion and philosophical system?
Taoism.
Correct. Time's up. You're nothing if not consistent. You managed in that round to bank an unimpressive £60. Never mind, we'll treble that and add it to the winnings from the previous rounds. That means prize money today of £1,980. But of course, only one of you can take that money away, so now you will be playing against each other head to head. I'll ask alternate questions, best of 5. Whoever answers the most correctly wins. It's as simple as that. If there's a tie after 5, we'll go for sudden death until we have a winner. So, Charlotte and Keith, £1,980. Let's play the weakest link. Keith, as the strongest link in the last round, you have the choice of who goes first.
I'll let the lady go first.
Charlotte. In the children's TV puppet series, Bill and Ben the Flower Pot Men, what was the name of the tortoise?
Is it Quickly?
Correct answer is Slowcoat. Keith. Which South African city is known as the country's mother city?
Johannesburg.
Correct answer is Cape Town. Charlotte. In biology, which word for an infectious organism comes from the Latin for poison?
Virus?
That is the correct answer. Keith. In history, Thomas à Becket was murdered during the reign of which king?
Richard III.
Correct answer is Henry II. Charlotte. A sufferer from celiac disease is intolerant to which protein found in wheat and rye?
I can't remember.
Correct answer is gluten. Keith. To draw level. According to tradition, what piece of clothing did judges in Britain put on when about to pass a death sentence?
It's a black cap.
That is the correct answer. Charlotte. By what nickname was American rock singer Bruce Springsteen also known?
The Boss.
That is the correct answer. Keith. Who starred in the films Blackboard Jungle and Guess Who's Coming to Dinner?
Spencer Tracy.
The correct answer is Sidney Poitier. Charlotte, if you answer this question correctly, you have won. So for £1,980. In astronomy, which of the major planets in our solar system discovered in the 1930s is the smallest?
Pluto.
That is the correct answer. That means, Charlotte, you are today's strongest link and you go away with £1,980. Keith, you leave with nothing. Join us again for the weakest link. Goodbye.
I think I was one of the strongest, although I had a bit of a wobbly moment at times.
Well, actually, I'm delighted to have gotten so far in the first place. I didn't believe I'd end up in the finals. And yes, it is a little bit disappointing to not have won, but I still had a great time, and I'm happy for Charlotte now, and I wish her the best of luck.
I'm very happy to have won. I wasn't sure I'd get that far, although I had lots of supporters who thought I would do well, so I'm very happy I've won.
Links to